Okay, so we're going to look at how to do the assignment, Unit 4 heat questions, and intro to the lab, CaCl plus baking soda or sodium bicarbonate. The first thing that we're going to do is look at Unit 4 heat questions. This is the formula that we're going to use to answer Unit 4 heat questions. This is heat equals mass times the change in temperature, or T2 minus T1. So as we come into, we can just close this out, go to assignments, because it will reload all the questions. So we're looking at heat, Unit 4 heat questions, and you'll see that I have the equation listed here a couple of different times, and these are all the specific heats that you need. And when we're coming back to this equation, this is simply multiplication and maybe a subtraction. So you can only multiply or divide. If it's asking for Q, you multiply everything. And a lot of times this will be given by like raising it, or sometimes you won't even have to subtract it. Let's take a look at a question. An iron skillet has a mass of 1,075 grams. The specific heat, or C, is 0.449 joules per grams degrees Celsius. How much heat, so that is Q, right, must be absorbed to raise the skillet's temperature by 90.7 degrees C? So if you're looking at this, we know what M is, that's the 1,000. We know what the C is, that's given. And we know what the T is. We didn't have to subtract it because it was already given in 90.7 degrees from whatever it was. So if we're looking at this, all we have to do is take our M, which is 1075 times C, 0.449 times 90.7, edit, copy, and just paste that in there. And you can round to the second decimal. So that's how much heat's required. And this is the same thing. How much heat is needed to raise the temperature of 23.4 grams of water? You just come down here to get the C of water and multiply those. So to be 23.4 times 4.18 times 44.3. Does that make sense? All you're doing is multiplying on here. And once again, how much heat? You've got a 5. This is your mass. Here is one that you're going to have to subtract. So you've got, going right back to the formula, you've got Q equals MC delta T. So the C is given. You have to subtract 88 minus 2.3. So it was raised 85.7 degrees. And then you just multiply it. Well, you multiply your mass, which is 5474.3. Oops. So you go 85.7 times 5474.3 equals times 0.449. And then this one, I give you the equation. You're solving for delta T. If we're looking at this equation, we're solving for delta T. So all you do is take MC and divide it into Q, and that gives you delta T. You know, it's the same thing as 2 times 5 equals 10, and you're going to solve for 2. 10 divided by 5 is 2. So over here, we've got Q, which is 556.1. We've got, oh, this is grams of water, 78.4. I got to make a note of that. 78.4 grams of water. So we're looking at 556.1, 556.1 divided by MC, which is 78.4 times 4.18. So that's Q divided by MC. Wow. Okay. And so 1.70. So on here, and then you just have those two questions left, which are the exact same thing. You just have to solve for delta T and or solve for mass. It's the same thing. So on here, let's take a look, see what we got. Okay, and that's it. The same thing here on the bottom one. All you do is you have Q which is 85.1.2, right? And it's going to be divided by C and M because we're solving for delta T. So if we're solving for delta T, oops, my drive. We're solving for delta T. Here's our equation. Then we just take Q divided by MC, and that gives us delta T. So on here, we're going to take our Q, which is 851.2, and divide that by M, which is 65.4, and multiply that by 0.235, and that gives us the correct answer. Pretty simple, huh? Okay.